can you see this person's perspective,
Right.
but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
Here we are. It is a crazy, stormy day, and life is stormy.
Life is stormy. You got a bucket, I can carry that tune in it.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to talk about being rooted in life throws us curveballs, and it can, whether it's you're fired, you know, the TV show, you're fired, or in a marriage, you're fired, divorce, the death of a loved one. There are things like that. Just the pandemic fired a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And
I started to say, it also created opportunity for a lot of people, which is the flip side of seeing it as, and of course, not taking away any of understanding fully that there were deaths and there were illnesses and there were monumental things that are not reflective of our show today. However, also to help with a skill set and the tools for those people that might find themselves in a mindset that's beginning to feel, you know, the phrase that we've coined, the uncomfortable comfortable, you know?
It's really easy to used to be. You know, I used to be a size 6, but guess what? You can say I used to be a size 6, therefore I don't do this until I'm a size 6 again. Or you could say, you know what can I do right now? Just and be whatever I want to be, whatever I want to do. It's important to launch. This is what a launch date is all about.
Yes.
Well, we got some, what I love about Teri and what we love to share is some tools. So I get something right now to write down. I mean, you can take notes on your phone, but I think the action of writing is important. You know, I go to Dollar Tree and I get composition books. I mean, we're talking $1 and it's a composition book just like that. It didn't have to be some fancy leather bound journal that you've imported from France. I mean, it can be, but
sure. If it makes you feel better, great. You know, if you're going to revisit it and utilize it, wonderful. It can be whatever you need it to be. It can be the back of a grocery bag if you need that. You know, whatever you can capture your thought processes on, that will allow you to revisit them and critique them and start implementing them.
But I think the action of actually writing it down is part of the exercise of making your brain wrap around it. So
Absolutely.
Today, Teri has this, I call it my Teri tools, because where you might go to somebody and you spill your guts to somebody, they may not give you a working set of tools to use to change. So here's what we're doing. We're going to take down this little list of tools, and then I've got a few more I'm going to throw in there too.
All right, let's do it.
Well, let's open up willingness. Okay, let's say someone has lost their job. This year's a big year for losing a job. Where does willingness come in for that, moving out of that spot?
First and foremost, willingness traveling partners are going to be the ability to, and the willingness to, assess the ability that you have at hand, and also look at your skill set. What are you willing to commit to? Some people are just willing to commit to complaining about it, and that's okay. There's no judgment. Some people are willing to, well, you know what? I've always wanted to, whatever, you know, be a surfboard professional. Is there such a thing? I guess there is a surfboard professional. You know, I've wanted to do this. Be willing to entertain that and be willing to trust that when you start releasing some of these very firm belief systems, the ground's going to get a bit shaky beneath your feet.
Well, I wanted to address a couple of things. First of all, Elizabeth, I miss my journaling and writing things down. Definitely helps me wrap my head around life.
Well, here we go, Elizabeth. You don't have to miss it anymore, sister. Go get you a journal and start today. It's good for you.
Yeah. And Rhonda, I'm going to apologize. She says the audio keeps going out on Devon. It's because I am in a storm out here and my internet is going crazy. I'm going crazy out here in it. And it's a wonder the dogs are quiet. I'm just saying that.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah. We ain't going to let that stop us. That's when we got stuff on video. And, you are so right.
So, yeah.
That you were there and we're welcoming you to our show. Let's move on to the next idea of willingness. I'm going to put mine under that category. Now that you've got your journal, now that you've got your notebook, now that you've got your pen to write things down, make a list of everything you've never given yourself permission to do, that you've always wanted to do. You say, I don't have time for, because Teri's going to blow that out of the water. I don't have time for, I have this other job and I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Write down everything you've ever wanted to do on a page. And then start looking at what's possible. I call it my vision list. Instead of my vision board, it's my vision list. Okay, that's where willingness comes in for me.
Okay.
Now, blow that list out of the water whenever we say, well, I just don't have time.
Well, I don't have time is just hooey. I mean, we have the same amount of time. As far as I know, as far back as time goes, it's been the same amount of time. If it hasn't been, please, someone let me know that. However, 24 hours in a day is 24 hours in a day. And how we prioritize that or how we prioritize that is a large factoring in how our day and our future unfolds. Not only our present day and our future, but our past as well. If we are allocating a lot of time to moaning, groaning, complaining, staying stuck, being in a mindset that nothing ever works out for me, then you have just as much time, if you flip that script, to blueprinting your future, to journaling out what you would like to do, to categorizing all the things that may be possible, and to start looking at positivity over negativity. It is a choice. A lot of times we get bristly and prickly around that fact, because when you say to someone it's a choice, what we're doing is we're taking that hot potato and we're going, here, you hold it. You are accountable for it, you know.
I love this from Rhonda. She says, when I write things down, good things happen. And Elizabeth's response to that, I got all the time in the world. I just choose to waste it some days.
I love the honesty there, because that is true, right? If it's not a priority, it's not a priority. And there should be no guilt, judgment, or shame in that. It's just not a priority. But when you get tired of when you get tired of feeling stuck, then we are the only people that owe it to ourselves to shift out of that. And if we don't know how, we need to ask for help. And sometimes asking for help is like swallowing a briar. You don't want to do it. It hurts. You don't want to do it. We should be able to do things on our own. But here's the skinny. If somebody told me I had to do a handstand today, I'd need some help on that. So somebody's going to have to spot me. Asking for help is natural, and it is it falls into our self-kindness category. But yeah.
Okay, let's move on to accountability, because accountability is important. I always find that having someone to be accountable to is that helps me a little bit. And it just, a bestie that you can kind of check in with when you're trying to make a change.
As long as that bestie is going to hold you accountable. Because sometimes we have besties that are like, I just don't feel like doing it. Like, okay, say you're writing and you're like, I need to knock out those 1,500 words today. And that best friend you said, I didn't sleep good last night. Well, girl, take you a nap. You don't have to write today. I know that we agreed you said you wanted to, but you don't have to. Girl, take yourself a power nap and get to it, because this is accountability. You're holding grace and space, and accountability falls into our personal action steps daily. I'm not talking about huge leaps and bounds. They can be a shuffle or a scoot if that's all you got in you, but it needs to be something towards the direction of what your goal, your dream, your vision, your intention is. If you only have 10% to give and you give 100% of that 10%, then you have held yourself accountable and you have taken an action step.
Amen. Amen. Elizabeth, I need to learn to shift out of it better. I have an easy time giving help and a very hard time asking for it.
Okay. So the question there would be, are we willing to ask for it? I tell people all the time, and they look at me like I got 3 heads, and I'm used to that, so it's okay. I tell people all the time when they say it's hard, I'm like, concrete is hard. This is not. It is challenging. And so challenge ourselves. You know, if we would do that for a friend, we have to in turn be our best friend, you know?
True. Speaking of besties, Michelle Henry just stopped in and said hello. Rhonda says we all need an accountability or mentor that will keep it real.
Yes.
It's true. We don't. Moving on to self-kindness. Self-kindness is a big thing. We talk a lot about that on this show, about self-kindness, but that also doesn't mean wallowing in something and calling it self-kindness. It's not the pity pot. That is not self-kindness.
No, that's actually self-torture. But, you know, what do I know? I mean, I don't know. I just pulled that out of my butt. But no, seriously, it is really self-torture, right? For me, what I tell people self-kindness is it is the ability to look at our needs and be willing to meet ourselves halfway there. If we don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to meet ourselves all the way there, then go halfway there. Meet yourself where you can, without self-judgment, and also sliding into self-forgiveness and releasing of that. There's been many, many times that we don't hit the mark. New Year's resolutions, for one. Lots of people make resolutions. Resolutions for a lot of people are geared up as, you know, I've tried this over and over and over and over, but I haven't really had anybody hold me accountable, nor have I held myself accountable. Therefore, I have faltered. I'm not going to say failed, but we faltered at it. So if we're being self-kind to ourselves, then we're not going, well, I'm going to set this goal, but you know, I haven't made it so far, and odds are I'm not going to do it now. No. It's a judgment-free zone. If you don't know how to be judgment-free, find somebody that can help you with that. Read a book, find somebody that can sit in front of you and hold that space for you.
Right.
It's about self-forgiveness. And forgiveness doesn't mean, as we've said in the past, that we turn the other cheek and we go, well, it never happened, therefore it doesn't exist, therefore I'm okay, because that's just bullshit. We never forget those things. So, but we can say, you know what? I may not have succeeded at this in the past, but now I recognize why I didn't, and I'm going to enlist those things that can better set me up for success.
That's when I pull out my well, I'm gonna save that point for number 6, and actually it's like a sub point under number 5. Let's continue with self-kindness. For me, my self-kindness is I don't give myself, and I realize it, and I called myself a sleeperexic for many years because that, you know, I caught myself going into the euphoria of like, oh my God, the mad scientist is creating, I'm writing, and I'll, you know, write for a whole weekend and not go to bed, and just, it's just like, and then I realized it was really bad for me. So now I set a clock to go to bed, like most people set to go up, to get up. And it has been the self-kindness thing. It's like, it's just a little sweet little music that comes. Wow. It really does help. And if I need a nap, I'll set my clock and I'll do a little nap now. So that's my self-kindness. It doesn't have to be a big thing.
Right. Absolutely. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be a big task, but the rewards of it are monumental. Setting a clock to remind you, hey, it's time to go to bed. Not a big task, right? But you reap huge rewards from that because your body and your mind are in alignment. You have energy, you have more clarity, and you can continue forward with your writing, or I know you do tons of audiobooks, so there's that.
Yeah, when we get so busy that we don't give ourselves permission to do things that we need, like eating, and now I don't love to exercise. I love to do things outside. I love to do things, but going to a gym, I tried it. It's just, I do love to do. I love to work with horses and I love to mow. Who knew? And not on a riding mower, but on a push mower. I love it.
I love that too.
And so I just love it. It's just like seeing the little rows come out. It's just like, yes, this is awesome. So giving yourself permission to do something good physically for yourself. Wow. The rewards are there. Let's move on to patience. I get impatient about patience. Girl, I lost you. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me because I muted the thing because the dogs were chewing on a bone and I was trying to get it from them. That's called accountability right there. I could have said, oh girl, I don't know what happened. Let me just, here we go. No,
accountability. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Patience.
Patience for me, what I tell.
Perfect timing with the puppy. Yeah.
Exactly. Patience, for me, can fall under that self-kindness, right? But it also falls under persistency. When we're looking at how we show up and how we treat and respond to ourselves, I tell clients when I'm working with them around the littles, which are the younger versions of ourselves, if you had your 5-year-old self sitting next to you right now on a couch, in a chair, at the table, in the car, and you had a thought come through, someone pulled out in front of you and you had to swerve to miss them, and then the thought process goes through your head, it's so stupid, I should have seen them coming, and I didn't, and you start just really railing yourself. Ask yourself, if you were talking to your little, would that be that, or would it be like, well, your 5-year-old wouldn't drive, but say you spilled something, it's okay, and just clean it up. Or is it, oh, I'm so stupid, I'm so clumsy? Those things are reinforcing. So having the persistency to be kind to yourself and to have patience with yourself, the patience that you would have with a younger version of yourself.
Right.
The patience that you should and could, and I know I tell people don't should on yourself, but patience that you could have with, if you don't know something, or you've never tried something, or you're trying to become a healthier version of yourself, and perhaps you haven't always succeeded at that, allowing yourself the gift of patience this time around can make all the difference in the world, because now you know the things that you would like to work on. Not that you need to or you should work on, but that you would like to work on. And then understanding that, you know what, there are going to be days I'm going to hit the ball out of the park and it's going to be phenomenal. And there's going to be days I'm going to go down swinging, but I'm not going to hit anything. And you know what? That's okay too. There's a lesson and an opportunity in both of those scenarios. So being patient with ourselves is definitely creating that space to go, yeah, this is where I'm at, and it's okay.
I truly, truly love that. And what I found is that I have a couple of friends who they admit, oh, I had a terrible day. And I had a terrible day and I'm just so angry and I have anger issues, and they just get mad at stuff. And I said, well, what happened? Well, when an engine breaks or when something doesn't work like it's supposed to, it just makes me so mad. And I thought, when the mower stops, I go, okay, you're mowing and the mower stops. It was in a thick patch of grass or something, I just go, ooh, this is another chance to exercise my arms. This is okay. And do I get upset about it? Maybe. But the truth is, it really isn't that big a deal.
No. And if you're going to be accountable, get out and cut the grass sooner. If you're hitting those big clumps that if it's getting too tall, and then you're cutting the grass, cut it a little sooner. Because the bottom line is things are going to happen. I tell people, Devon, when they say, oh my God, my whole day has just been ruined. Oh, my whole day was horrible. I'm like, do you have 24 hours in a day? I'm not a mather, but if I had a calculator, I'd break that down to minutes and into seconds. And you're going to tell me that every one of those, I don't believe in bad days. I believe in challenging moments that, we can run up against a moment that might give us some resistance. But I do not believe in challenging or in horrible bad days. Now, that's circumstances, a loved one is going to die, we're going to lose a fur baby, those things. And yes, in those moments, those days, the majority of those emotionally are going to be off kilter for us. But even in that, we can find something to be grateful or appreciative for, even if it's the fact that our arms, legs, ears, and eyes are working, whatever capacity they're working. We have a roof over our head. There's always something there to be grateful for.
The sun came out today.
Sure. Absolutely.
And I'm a big, when I really participate in my life with lists, it really, really helps me. Oh, I love it. Rhonda says, if I have a pulse, I have a purpose. I have a purpose. Rhonda, I've shared her story many times. Rhonda, who I don't know how old you were supposed to, a doctor early on, you certainly weren't supposed to hit the age you are now, as far as what doctors said. And living with CP has been challenging in many different ways. But Rhonda called me one day so excited, and she said, I put my socks on all by myself.
Nice.
And I carry that in my mind. I put my socks on by myself because it might be today, whatever my challenges are. I think about Rhonda and I think about the thing, you know what? I brushed my teeth today. Yes, I walked my dog today. List the things that you can be grateful for. Gratitude lists are very important.
Super important.
Going back to our list, commitment. Commitment that's the big Megillah. The biggest pillar to change is committing to the change and committing to your new life where you are now. And that sometimes can be very difficult. You can live in the I used to be's, but to live in the I am's requires some commitment.
And your I am's can be as lengthy or as hearty as you would like them to be, or they can be short. I am, with affirmations, I am kind, I am sweet. Now there means you have to buy into that, which is the commitment part. The other part, the other words that I use for that is the buy-in. Now some people will say you have to invest in yourself. And that's great, but that sounds kind of corporate-y to me. I think that there has to be a true buy-in for ourselves. We have to look at what the end goal is, the vision, and say, do I really want that? And if you do, then again, all of the above steps fall into place there. It's a rinse, or what is it called? Like lather, rinse, and repeat. You have to do the commitment step time and time again, knowing that some days you're going to miss the mark, some days you're going to hit it bullseye. But being committed to that means that, I trust in myself enough that I will be willing. I will remain open even when I have resistance. I will be accountable even when I don't want to be. Someone that's going to be an accountability partner, or as Rhonda said, a mentor. They're gonna hold me accountable. I might not always like what they say, but I know that they're saying it because in a different mindset, I made an agreement that this is what I wanted to do. Right?
Right. Commitments where I bring a list, everything that we've always wanted to do, but we've never given ourselves permission or time, or we've never committed to doing those things. When I left radio the first time, just to give a reset, and I started a pet sitting business because I thought, what would I do for free if someone wasn't paying me? I love taking care of pets. I had no idea I would love it so much. And actually, when you and I met, that's what I was doing. I was a pet sitter, and I loved having my own pet sitting business, and my clients were the pets clients. The pets were the ones, and they were always happy to see me. And you can do something completely 180 different than what you were. You might have been an executive. I had a dear friend who was an executive in an advertising agency, and she got a job as a cashier at Publix. She loved it. She said, everybody's happy to see me. Nobody complains. I check out their green beans and I take care of that. And they're going home to prepare food for their families. I just love it. Everybody in my line is happy. And I thought, wow. She goes, I don't have anybody screaming about deadlines. There's no pressure. I absolutely love my job. Who knew?
The other part of that is, on the other scale, or the other side of that, is our commitment to self. You shared the story of Rhonda, reaching out to you and saying she put her socks on by herself that day. And that's the same thing. There's a level of, and I'm not trying to make Rhonda the center of attention here, but there's a level of commitment to that. She could have easily given up halfway through and said, I can't do it. And that would have been okay too, but you can't stay in that space. So she was committed to seeing that task through. Sometimes a commitment for some people is, truthfully, if people say, I want to keep a tidier house, a commitment is, okay, I'm going to vacuum the floors, and this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to commit to vacuuming the floors and emptying the dishwasher, whatever it is. Commitment is a really firm word for something that we can use on multiple levels in our life. A commitment to being kind to ourselves means that when that old thought narrative comes up that wants to bully us and limit us, we've made a commitment that we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to hold true to our new way of thinking. And if we need to reach out to an accountability partner and say, hey, I'm falling into some pretty limited thoughts right now, can I bounce something off of you? That person is there to go, absolutely, and working that stuff out.
Elizabeth, this is brilliant. I have to truly commit to myself or it won't happen. Commitment. The commitment has to be for me and not because it may look good to others. Oh, that is brilliance right there. Yeah. I make a daily to-do list, and when I make a list, I realize that I'm more productive. And now it's not my vision list. I keep that. I put it on the refrigerator, put it on the bathroom mirror. My vision list is constant, and I always make sure that I go back to it. But my daily list, it's crazy. But did you know that a study was done that you are 40% more likely, more productive if you make a daily list of things to get done than if you didn't? And when you mark those things off, and then I circle the things at the end of the day I didn't do, and I'll move them to the next day. And I forgive myself if I don't get everything done. Do I overload my list every day? Yes. Things, and I get 8 done. Man, do I feel like, wow, I actually did something.
Yeah. And here's the thing, looking at the priorities on that list, is there something on that list that can go to next week?
Mm-hmm.
I have a list, and on my list, it's cleaning the exterior windows. I'm not planning on doing that anytime in the next 3 weeks. It's on the list, but it's on the down the road list.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if something opens up and I can do that, or time, and I don't
say Candy.
Hey there, if it's not time sensitive and there's an opportunity, sure, if I feel like it. But yes, having your list. I mean, when people argue the fact that lists are crippling to us, or they're not helpful to us, I challenge them: go in the grocery store and pick up everything you were going to get. Don't take your phone in there to remind you, and don't take a list in there. And see if when you get home, you're not, doggone it, I forgot this. I should have made a list, right? I did that. I think the last 3 times I went to the grocery store, I forgot the one thing I went for all 3 times because I got distracted, because life happens sometimes. And it's okay. We don't have to, that's not even something to forgive ourselves about. That's just, you know what? I'm going to make a commitment that next time I'm going to hold myself accountable, make a list.
Absolutely. Hi, Wayne. Glad to have you today. Well, you guys, I'm so glad that you joined us. And again, our list of things in just to help us get through our 6 pillars to change: willingness, accountability, self-kindness, patience, and commitment. And for me, my tools are a vision list and a to-do list every day. And sometimes we have to forgive ourselves if we don't get everything done, but list making really, really helps. And that's one of the tools that I use on a regular basis. I don't know. Candy said, I just made a list for the grocery
Perfect.
store. I love it. I love how everybody starts saying hello to each other when they join our group today. It's so wonderful. Well, if you guys want to, add on to this, just carry on the thread and share it with some other people. Maybe you can leave a tool that you use to get unstuck, to start the change. I know that if Steve Rain were with us today, he would say, change your language.
Change the narrative. Absolutely.
Don't used to be. But be truthful about what you are, and be truthful about what you want to do.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm excited about next week. We have Jackie Wilson coming on with us next week, who's the organista. So talk about organizing and keeping the benefits of keeping how our psyche can shift when we organize and change things around, perspective, and all that. It's not about decluttering your home, but it's about creating a space that works with you rather than against you.
Elizabeth gave us a great hashtag, launch date tribe. I love it.
There you go.
I love it. So start sharing the launch date. And Rhonda, I have a friend that I went shopping. I have a friend that I went shopping with me, had a list. She didn't. When I was done, she was looking at everything. That's true. That's what happens. See, Elizabeth, I'm looking forward to listening. Excited about having her on. It's really interesting how much decluttering helps your health.
Absolutely.
Starting up here. Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Teri, tell people how they can find you.
I am here on Facebook and also at teripugh.com, TERIPUGH.com. How about you?
You can go to DevonODay@gmail.com and leave me a message.
A message. If you want a massage, you can contact Delaney from last week.
Delaney from last week's show, Hand to Heart Wellness.
That's right.
You guys, we are so glad that you're here. We're going to close with Teri's tagline because it's always so good.
It is increase the peace.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.